Just these three, Dust?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. We'll make this as painless as possible. It's good that we have different age groups here. When I say age groups, from what grade are you going into?
Eighth.
You're going into 8th grade? Perfect. Okay. You're not recruitable yet. Okay. But you're not that far away. You're on the top end. You're going to your senior year and you're going in your junior year. Okay. So my job here is to help navigate you all through the recruiting process. My job isn't to pick up the phone and get you signed somewhere. Okay. I will advise you. I'll look at video. I'll watch you work out. All that kind of because I want you to get my professional opinion on where I think is a good fit for your son. Okay. I'm sure all of you have dreams of where you want to play, but we got to make sure they're realistic dreams. You know, Division I, Division II, Division III. Do you want to be or go to a JUCO out of high school? You know, there's so many different options, but it's to find that right fit. And it can be a scary process. It can be a very long process. It can be a pain in the butt, but you want it to be enjoyable. You know, you never want it to be where it's more of a negative than a positive. This is supposed to be a fun time, especially for you. You know, you're almost just a year away from going to college. You know, you need to be really, really thinking about what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? What do I want to major in? Okay, and you have a little bit of time yet, right? But it's not that far away. And what makes it either a fast process or a slow process now is based on really the NCAA and what in the NCAA is allowing different levels. When I say levels, your Division I, II, and III to do, and your time frames. Okay. So for instance, if you have that goal of playing Division I baseball, it's not my job to sit here and say, no, you can't. Okay. But the Division I schools nowadays, it used to be, they would start really, really watching you as an 8th grader and 9th grader, and they would get offers out as 9th graders and 10th graders. I still think that's going to happen behind closed doors, but they can't make things really official and make it really known at the Division I level now until, you know, really the summer of your junior year. Okay, so I'm just going to read you some things here real quick on just different rules, depending on if you are, Division I, Division II, Division III, and just some things that, you know, will help you along the process as far as, you know, what levels you're really getting into. Okay. For instance, we'll go Division I recruiting rules first. Okay, the NCAA baseball recruiting rules for Division I schools are the most regulated and strict of all college levels. Specific forms of communication from coaches are allowed depending on your year in school. So this is just Division I. They cannot talk to you until August 1st of your junior year. Okay? So obviously if they're contacting you, they're breaking rules. But it used to be where they could start talking to you guys at a very, very young age. Now it's being slowed down. They're trying to slow down the the recruiting process. But a lot of that is because, I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, is the transfer portal. And we'll get into that nasty headache here in a minute. Okay. September 1st of your junior year, this is when student athletes and their families can begin taking official visits per NCAA rules. Athletes can take unlimited official visits to Division I schools, but only one official visit per school. Now, this is where this rule has changed over the last couple of years. It used to be you could only take 5 official visits. Now you can take unlimited amount of official visits, but only 1 per school. So, for instance, if you're going to go to Mount St. Mary's University, they're a small Division I school. If you go there for an official visit, you can only ever do it one time. You can't go again unless there's a coaching change. If there's a coaching change there, then you are allowed to visit that institution on an official visit again. But we'll get into official and unofficial visits here in a minute. Let's see here. Division two, their rules are a little bit different. NCAA baseball recruiting rules for Division two schools are less restrictive than those for Division one schools. A coach can communicate with you off campus, and you can have official visits at June 15th of your sophomore year. So you can see there's a big gap and a big difference between Division one and Division two, just right there as far as when they can contact you, when you can actually go see them. Let's see, for Division two, they can start sending you printed materials starting June 15th before your athlete's junior year, telephone calls starting June 15th prior to your athlete's junior year, and off-campus contact. College coaches can have off-campus communication with athletes and their parents starting June 15th of the athlete's junior year. NCAA Division III recruiting rules. Okay, Division III, there's not a lot to go by because there is no athletic scholarships at the Division III level. The Division III level is all academic aid and financial aid, need-based for your family. Students can get recruiting materials at any time. College coaches are allowed to make unlimited calls to student athletes. College coaches may start off-campus communication after an athlete's sophomore year. Unofficial visits are not limited. Athletes and their parents can make as many as they want after January 1st of their junior year. So that's the only real rules as far as the Division III level. Okay, so I've spent 5 years as an assistant coach at the Division III level, and then I was the head coach at Mount St. Mary's, which is Division I for 23 seasons. So as far as the rules and that kind of thing, I do know a lot about all the levels, how the recruiting process works, and like I said, that's my job here to just help you really navigate through. What do you do? How do you get seen? There's so many different things out there that are money grabs. I will give you things to watch out for. Please don't just write a check for $5,000 because you think your son's going to get seen, when a lot of that stuff just gets thrown away in a trash can. Okay. Recruiting services, some of them are legit. A lot of them are big no-nos. I think it's called the NCSA. Okay. I can tell you right now, in 23 years that I was at Mount St. Mary's, I never recruited one kid from that program. Now, when I say that, it's not because of the kids, it's how that business ran things. And what they would do, they would send us a disc, and it would have probably 200 to 300 kids on a disc. What college coach has the time to sit there and watch 200 or 300 kids at a 3 to 5 minute clip? We don't. Okay. But if you would email me or email the coach and say, hey, coach, I just signed up with this NCSA, you should be getting something from them. My number for that day was number 72. Could you please pull my name and number up off the clip? I would watch every single one of those kids that sent me that type of email. Okay. But I'm not going to sit there and watch a disc of 300 kids just looking for someone. This is, okay, you just reached out to me. You want honest feedback. I'm going to watch that video for you. Who knows, for me, I might have found a diamond in the rough. But I want to give you honest feedback based on the video that I'm watching, because I will say a lot of these programs as well kind of talk the kids up maybe a little bit higher level than what they are, instead of being straight shooters with them. And like I said earlier, my job here is not to burst bubbles. It's to give you recommendations. If I think that you're a Division II or Division III baseball player based on videos that you all might send me, or what Dustin might send you, or I see you work out, and you want to go try to play Division I baseball, great, go for it. But I'm going to give you an honest evaluation on where I think that is a good fit and where I think you can maybe go in and play right away. Because that is the biggest thing, especially now, because of, are you all familiar with the transfer portal?
A little.
Okay. I'll put you on the spot. What do you know about the portal? Or what do you think the portal's for, and what do you know about it?
For kids to move from one school to the next if they're in athletics.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really all I know.
That's good. Okay. There's over 4,000 student athletes. There are over 4,000 baseball players in the transfer portal right now. 4,000.
First week.
Huh?
In just the first week.
Just the first week. 4,000. So if you're a college coach, are you going to go look at college players on the portal, or are you going to go watch a high school kid play? A lot of these colleges are going right to the college portal because these kids, the majority part of them, have played already at the college level. So they have, these coaches already have feedback on, okay, this kid can help us right now to help us win, or to maybe fill a spot that they might need. So the thing that stinks is for the high school kids, it's like, now you got to wait. But on the flip side, and this is, I've kind of changed my tune going through this over the last just 2 years, because go somewhere where you can play right away. And it doesn't have to be Division I. It doesn't have to be Division II. It doesn't have to be Division III. Okay? Go where you know that you can step in and play right away. Don't go somewhere where you're going to sit. If you think you're going to sit, then you might want to just think about the word transfer portal. Because if you're going to sit, they're always going to be recruiting over top of you. So for you to get on the field, it's going to be tougher. Okay? But I had just a couple, I quit coaching like travel ball 2 years ago. But I had a kid on my team who, in my opinion, I thought was a Division I baseball player. He could run, he could throw, he could hit. I would have recruited him probably at about a 70% level at Mount St. Mary's. But I thought he was more of like a mid-major type, like maybe a St. Joe's, like an A10 type of Division I. I couldn't get him a sniff at these schools because they would just come back and say, Scott, you know, we know what kind of coach you were. We know you can judge talent. But why wouldn't we get a college kid that can come in with college experience instead of taking a chance on a high school kid? You know, well, this kid put up great numbers in high school, and now he's going to go to a Division III school, which is great because I feel, and I know I've talked to the coach, they feel like he's going to step in and start right away. And these Division III coaches know too, it's a domino effect. If they get a really, really good kid at the Division III level, what's the odds of that kid staying there for 4 years? He's probably going to sniff the Division IIs or the Division IIIs if he has a good year right away. And then on the flip side, let's say you do get to go in and you get to play a lot as a freshman at a Division III level, and you have an average year or a below average year, then maybe you're where you need to be. And that's a good thing too, because then you don't have to worry about transferring. Okay? So college sports in general is just, in my opinion, is just an absolute mess because of the NCAA and what the NCAA is doing with this whole portal. And now you throw NIL on top of that. If you know what I'm talking about when I say NIL, now these student athletes, and good for them, can get paid. I mean, it's always, when I was coaching, it was always held against the student athlete. You know, they weren't allowed to go get jobs and all this, but yet the presidents and the ADs always wanted to, you know, hang over our coaches, over our heads and say, well, they are examples of this university. Well, yeah, they are. They're student athletes. They're getting up and lifting at 6 o'clock. Then they go to practice. Then they have study hall. Oh, yeah, they got classes through the day. What's the normal student doing? Maybe they're sleeping in until 10 or 11, having their classes in the afternoon, and then maybe going to waitress or work somewhere at night to make a little bit of money. Student athletes weren't allowed to do that. but now they can. So now they can use their name, image, and likeliness to make money for themselves and obviously the school itself. But yeah, that's at the Division I level and a lot of your, really just your Power Five programs. But I can see probably over the next 5 years, that's going to start trickling down into your mid majors and low level Division Is, where they're going to try to at least maybe try to pay a kid a little bit, to play, especially in your footballs and basketball programs. So. Any before I go any further, any questions on anything that I've kind of hit on so far?
Quick one. NIL, not the NIL, sorry, the transfer portal.
Mhm.
If an athlete were to say, hey, I want to enter the portal, is that effectively saying and they can't not go back or stay with the team they're with?
That is totally up to that institution.
Okay.
Okay. There is no rule that says if you enter the portal, then that school that you're leaving no longer wants you. Okay. That is up to the coach and the compliance officer and the athletic director. Probably more so than anybody, the coach. Especially if you're at the Division I level, you're probably on some sort of scholarship. As soon as you say, so if I was still at the Mount and if one of my players came to me and said, Coach, I'm getting in the portal, we would have a conversation. Well, what happens if you don't find what you're looking for? Are you definitely coming back? But on the flip side of things is if you're on athletic aid, you can't sit there as a Mount St. Mary's coach and just think, well, if this kid doesn't find what he's looking for, I got to save his money to give it to him when he comes back. No, you're giving up that money once you hit that portal. And most coaches are then going to go out, find somebody to replace you. Now, what I would do if I was going out to look for someone to replace you, I'm then going to call you and say, okay, I know you told me you're in the portal. You haven't signed with anybody yet. You told me if you don't sign, you're going to come back. I'm just going to let you know we just found somebody to replace you. So now if you come back, we'll have a roster spot for you, but you're not getting your athletic scholarship anymore. So that would be more of a conversation between you and a coach. But I would say, you're going to lose definitely your money, and some coaches might say, well, you're going to lose your spot as well if we find somebody to replace you.
So the first thing you're going to do is go to the portal instead of going after a high school kid.
Yep.
And then the kids, it doesn't sound like it, but the kids that do enter the transfer portal and the coaches are pulling them off, are they pulling them off for scholarship spots, or is it just a mix of non-scholarship, scholarship, whatever?
Repeat that one more time.
What if you don't need the scholarship? And I know that's a weird question.
Mm-hmm.
What if you're this great baseball player and you don't need the money for whatever reason? Do you enter the transfer portal to find another school potentially? Or are they just only looking for scholarship spots, the coaches from these other schools that might be looking at you?
The coaches aren't looking for a scholarship spot at all. The coaches are looking for somebody to fill a hole that they still feel that they didn't get out of that high school recruiting class. Your high, because the portal just hit. It just opened up like a week or two ago. Okay, as far as these college coaches can now recruit college players. For the high school season, okay, the recruiting process is kind of dormant right now. Okay, because we're in June. It'll start kicking up again once these travel organizations are starting to play, more of like mid-June, late June, early July, as college coaches get out and start watching these kids play. So then that next recruiting cycle for high school kids, that'll kick in again. But if these colleges can find what they're looking for right now, from now until really August 1st, they're going to take the college kids. So they'll try to get as many college kids right now, and then that's less high school or junior college kids that they would have to get in their recruiting cycle. But to answer your question, yeah, it's not really a scholarship thing. It's more of, we need 3 more pitchers, or our shortstop just transferred somewhere. We need a shortstop. Most of the time when you're in the portal, and especially at the Division I level, if you're in the portal and they sign you, you're getting some sort of money. Now, with that being said, there might not be that much money floating around either. It all depends on who leaves. If they were on a scholarship, then there becomes money available, because you're only allowed at the Division I level, you're only allowed 11.7 baseball scholarships. So there's 40 kids on a roster now. You do the math, 11.7 and 40 kids, it's not a lot of money. You know, and the NCAA only allows you to have, you know, it used to be 25, I think it is up to 28 now, that you can put on an athletic scholarship. But still, there's another 14, 15 kids that aren't on an athletic scholarship. And that doesn't mean anything either. You know, coaches are going to, you know, they're getting paid to win games. Whether your kid is a scholarship player or not should not matter on playing time or who plays, who doesn't plays. It's just really the way the recruiting process works. Okay.
So for the transfer portal compared to high school kids, so you're saying more likely their pick if you have a whole shortstop because somebody just went to the transfer portal, more coaches are likely to look for the transfer portal to pick a kid compared to going to top high school?
Pretty much, yeah.
Is that because of the level of experience of the kid?
Mm-hmm. Because they're getting a kid that has already competed in college baseball. You know, they're not going after an average player or a below average player, because different people enter the portal for different reasons too. Okay, just because I said there's over 4,000 kids in the portal right now, it doesn't mean these are 4,000 of the best baseball players in the country. Some kids are in the portal because they didn't play. So maybe they were at the Division I level. They might be transferring now to a Division II or Division III program. So now you can, it opens for everybody. Because if you're a Division I player, you didn't play much, Hood College needs a shortstop. Well, this kid was at UMBC, didn't play much, but he was recruited for Division I, must be able to play a little bit. Now he's going to transfer down to a Division III program. So you can transfer all over the place, and it used to be there were rules that would make you sit out a year and all this kind of stuff. That's completely gone nowadays. You know, once you hit the portal, these college kids, there is no restrictions on their playing times for the following year. Because that used to be, you know, when you had to sit out, that would keep Division I programs from recruiting off of Division II and Division III programs. That was a good question, though. Mm-hmm. Okay, a couple terms: official visits, unofficial visits. I mentioned about official visits when I was reading you the Division I, Division II, Division III recruiting guidelines. Official visits come from that institution. Okay, so it's not like you're going to pick up the phone and call a school and say, hey, I'd like to come up for an official visit. An official visit means that school, that institution, is paying for your visit. Okay, so pretty much mom, dad, they're going to put you up in a hotel room. The players, you're going to stay with one of the players overnight, but they're going to wine you, dine you, take you out to lunch, take you out to dinner, all that good stuff for up to 48 hours. Okay, but that is on the host institution. Okay, and you can remember, you can only go there one time. So if that school calls you up and says, hey, we want you to come up for an official visit, you can only go on that. Well, they'll know because they're not going to invite you for a second time. Okay, but you can only go on an official visit to the same institution one time unless there was a coaching change. And then you can go there again because that new coach might have a different recruiting philosophy or what they're looking for, or you never know what it might be. Okay, an unofficial visit is when you email a university, a college, and say, hey, we would like to come up for a visit. Can you set us up, with in the guidance office? We'd like to do a campus tour. We would like to meet with the coaching staff. You initiated that phone call, but any expenses on that visit is on you. Okay, the school might, like if you go to a college tour, they might have like some lunch tickets for you, while you're there. But that's through the financial aid office or admissions office. So then that money is coming out of them and not the athletics office. So nothing gets turned around as far as being an official visit. But sometimes when you guys do go on tours, you might be able to get some, lunch tickets or something like that from the guidance office. But unofficial visits, you can take as many unofficial visits as you want, and you can visit the same institution as many times as you want. Okay, so you might want to go up sometime and just watch a team practice. You might want to go on a tour. You might want to meet the coaches. You might want to go up and watch a game. They're just different things that you might just want to go up and visit at different times during the day. Just to go up and what's going on between classes. Can you sit in on a class? Some schools when you're up there on a visit will let you sit in on a class just so you can kind of experience what the atmosphere is like at a college class instead of your high school classes. Any questions on official visits? Okay. The recruiting process, okay, depends a lot on what year you're in. Okay, like I said, we got now an 8th grader going into 11th grade and going into your 12th grade. So I'll start with you right now. Where are you right now within your recruiting process, and what are your expectations? So everybody else be ready, because I'm coming to you next and I'm going to you last. And you're not going to answer much because you're young.
I guess like contacting a few like smaller D3 schools and like doing like unofficial visits, like watching play games.
What are you doing? What are you doing this summer?
Doing
What are you
like
doing this summer to get your name out there?
a few like showcase camps and like individual camps.
Okay. When you say individual camps, you like, is that going to a college? Good.
So, like you said, a few showcase camps, and then also a few unofficial visits here at home.
Okay.
I'm here to learn, but and also like I saw about like some of the showcases. So like I'm just gonna ask you because I've heard some people say showcases are amazing. Like for example, Cricket Game Showcase. I've heard people say stories of they're great, but I've also heard it's a waste.
Correct.
And it's either hit or miss.
Correct.
So
Okay. My personal opinion, the best place to get seen is going to a college camp. And here's why. While you're there for 3 to 5 days, you're going to spend the night. So you're in a dorm. You're going to eat in the cafeteria. You're going to be on campus. You're going to be on the baseball field. The coaches are going to be there. A lot of camps will have maybe some of their players helping out with the camp. So you are going to have everything imaginable except for what a day of classes are going to be like. So when you go to an individual school's camp, you will be able to check off so many boxes. Yeah, I really like it here. No, this place isn't for me already. I don't like it. That's great. The more boxes you can check off right away is awesome. Plus, if you're there at that institution, those coaches that are there, they're recruiting you. So if you hear something right away, guess what? They like you. If you haven't heard anything, guess what? They don't like you. Okay. But you can compare that school to then go to maybe another camp. I know how expensive travel teams can be. I know how expensive a lot of all these showcase events can be. You have to be careful when you're playing with some travel organizations. Where are they going to play in these tournaments? Are there going to be college coaches there? Okay. I can't tell you, other than the perfect games down in Georgia and East Cobb's down in Georgia and Florida. There's tons of colleges down there. A lot of your Power Fives are down there. What are your Power Fives looking at? When I say Power Fives, does everybody know what I mean when I say Power Five? Okay, that's your Clemson's, Florida States, the big boys of the world. Okay, ACC, SEC, Big Ten, Pac-10. Okay, so your biggest 5 conferences in NCAA. So when if I say Power 5, that's what I'm talking about. A mid-major is like A10, like a St. Joe, a Davidson, Virginia Commonwealth, Richmond, and then you have your lower level Division Ones that are like your Mount St. Mary's, UMBCs, that type of Division One level. Okay. But a lot of those big name tournaments that you mentioned, the big boys are down there. Do you have what the big boys are looking for? Maybe not, right? Okay, like for you two, if you go down there to those type of tournaments, what position do you play?
Yeah, I feel third and fifth.
Okay, what's your primary?
I have no one fifth.
Okay, if you're not a 6'6", 6'7" runner and throwing the baseball across the infield 90 miles an hour, you might not be what they're looking for. So now you just wasted a summer maybe playing with this travel organization that only goes to top notch. And there's nothing wrong with that, but they're taking you and these kids on these teams to enter tournaments just because it's prestigious instead of, hey, we want to get our kids seen. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? So these travel teams, ask your travel coach, ask your organizations, where are we going to play in these tournaments? Can you give me a list of schools? Because I know I would give organizations all the time, hey, Coach Thomson, where are you or someone in your coaching staff going this summer? Okay, so there were always definite tournaments that we always went to because there were certain teams that we wanted to see and that we did a great job recruiting off of. So why wouldn't we continue to keep going to see the same teams if they were being good to us? Okay, like I never once took any of my coaches. We never went to East Cobb. We never went to Perfect Games. Those kids are not going to come to Mount St. Mary's. I can say we're Division One all I wanted, but a lot of those schools were also Southern schools. A lot of those teams that go down there are Southern teams, and you're not going to get a Southern boy to come to Maryland to play baseball. Okay, it was kind of hard, even if we just drove to Virginia line to try to get a Virginia kid to drive up the road an hour and 15 minutes. Okay, so coaches, I always drew a circle around Mount St. Mary's about 3.5, 4 hours. Wherever that took me, that's where we went. Okay, as far as recruiting like high school tournaments, yeah, we would go, Jersey, New York, Maryland, Delaware, Virginia. We would never go anywhere farther south than Richmond because it didn't benefit us. So, a lot of the coaches that you all are going to be looking at, have you started reaching out to any schools yet? Okay. Who?
Roanoke, St. Vincent, and then like a little bit of
Okay. Ask them, are you going to be at any of these? Here's my schedule. Are you going to be at any of these tournaments? Or ask them, where are you going to be this summer? I'm really like your school. I would like to get in front of you. How can I do that? Okay. But like I said, the best way to get in front of them is to go to their school. That way you're there. You're going to get feedback. You're going to get to see everything that you want. Dustin, how much time we got? Okay. We just got to get set up we have a yoga class in here tonight that's baseball related. So I'm going to open these last really 10 minutes up to you. I will reach out to you, make sure you all have all of my contact information. And if at any time, like I said, my job here is to help you. So you can reach me by text, you can reach me by email. Are you members? Okay, I know you're members. So if you are a member of PBP, I should say anybody that's part of our PBP program right now, most of them are members. But if you are not a member and you sign up to be one of my clients, okay, I send out, I call it a newsletter twice a month, usually the 15th and 30th of every month. And it's really just any new legislation. When I say legislation, NCAA rules that might change or anything like that. And then also just giving you little tidbits of, okay, as a 9th grader, a 10th grader, 11th grader, 12th grader, this is what you should be doing at this time during the year to be seen. Okay, so just really little guidelines. And after that, it's just you all have to have open communication with me, and then I just guide you, because everybody's recruiting process is going to be different. One, depending on what levels, but even if everybody in here is a Division III player, your travel and your journey is going to be all different based on either location, maybe your major, your position. There's just all kinds of X factors that are out there that will decide on what you're going to do and where you're going to go. Okay? Does anybody?
How important is Twitter?
Good question. Very, very important. Right, Dustin? How important is Twitter?
When is it overkill? Is it ever overkill?
Well, here.
No.
Yeah.
For a player trying to get exposure.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's the main thing with this what social media is for, and I'll tell you why. One, you're going to get recognized. Okay? People are going to start following you. But when I follow you, I have a huge list in my phone of college coaches that are good friends of mine that, I make contacts to with our group here, or even just someone who we're giving lessons to, or whatever it may be. Okay? But they follow me. So then when I retweet something maybe that you're doing, that's going to go to those coaches. Okay? So what coaches want to see, what are you doing when nobody's watching? So when I say nobody's watching, okay, everybody on your team goes to practice, right? Everybody on your team plays their games, right? But what are you doing before your game? What are you doing the days you don't have games? So what they want to see is, okay, are you coming into PBP to hit, or are you going to just a local field? Are you doing stuff in your backyard? Are you going to lift? Some people kind of look at it maybe like what you were saying, like overkill, like, oh, this kid's just trying to show off. There is, to a degree, but college coaches follow you because they want to see what you're doing. Are you just lazy and only put something out there maybe once every 10 days? Or do you put something, okay, religiously, I go to PBP every night at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, and just real quick, it's okay, I went to PBP tonight, worked on the inside pitch, felt really good, I stayed through the ball. Simple. Awesome. A college coach is going to look at that, man, that kid's got an idea. He had a plan that night, not just going because they're going to meet their buddies in the PBP for the next hour and a half and hang out and talk. You had an idea. You had something you wanted to work on. And that's, plus someone just watching it might like what they see. So, and then, there's different types of social media out there, but everything is great.
He's just always worried about the overkill.
Don't worry about it. I mean, to me, if your buddies or whatever, then they're jealous. Maybe they should get out and start doing that too.
No, because I know he always tags Dustin, and
Right.
he always resends everything out.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Any other questions? No? Well, I thank everybody for coming. And like I said, if you ever have any questions, please reach out. I do stay in contact definitely twice a month through PBP and what we got going on here with our program. And then, like I said, it's just a journey from here on out, and I'm here to help you. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. And let me get your contact information just so I have it as well.
Okay.
Okay.